Just when we thought 2020 was going to be a terrible year, Canon have pulled through and just released their EOS R5 and R6. And as you might be wondering, is this one of the new cameras? Unfortunately, you may have already known, it's not. This is a Canon EOS R, but don't worry, the EOS R5 and R6 will be in stores very soon so we can show you in person. But for now, in this video, we're going to take a look at what's new, look at both of the features and compare both the specs. And if you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer them in the comments down below. As you can see, we have a top secret document. This has been printed professionally, definitely not just written on. Starting off with the Canon EOS R5, this is the first mirrorless camera that's full frame that Canon are slapping the badge of the 5, which means it's going to be their flagship camera with the highest quality and the highest weather resistance. This is going to be the main workhorse Canon is moving towards. As for the R6, it's going to be similar to the 60, where it doesn't have as many features as their flagship 5 series, but it's still going to have some cool tricks up its sleeve. Both camera bodies physically are going to be very similar. The only real differences you'll see is that the R5 now has a CF Express card as well as the SD card slot, compared to the R6 that has a dual SD card slot. On top of that, the screen resolution on both cameras are a little bit different, with the R6 having a 3.69 million dot viewfinder and a 3-inch screen with 1.6 million dots, compared to the R5 having a 5.76 million dot viewfinder and a 3.2-inch screen with 2.1 million dots. Now moving on to the main features, they are both full frame, with the R5 having a 45 megapixel sensor and the R6 having a 20.1 megapixel sensor. This gives the R6 a leg up in low light as it goes from 100 to 102,400 ISO, compared to the R5 having a 100 to 51,200 ISO. For all the filmmakers out there, you'll be excited to know that the R5 can shoot up to 8K 30 frames per second, or you can even shoot 4K 120 frames per second without any crop. As for the R6, you can shoot up to 4K 60 frames per second with no crop, and full HD up to 120 frames per second. Not too sure whether or not that's going to be cropped. We'll have to see when we get our hands on it. Breaking news for video users, I just read that you can record also in 10-bit in the R5, and you can also record 12-bit RAW in the R5 as well. Both cameras also have 5-axis image stabilization, which is revolutionary according to Canon, and it can compensate up to 8 stops. Now this is really cool if you do have an RF lens as well with built-in image stabilization. You're able to use them in tandem to compensate even more. Jumping back into photo land, both cameras can shoot up to 20 frames per second with the electronic shutter and 12 frames per second with the second mechanical shutter. One thing I forgot to mention is that only the EOS R5 will have a top LCD screen if you're looking to change settings on the fly. Compared to the R6, it will not have the top screen. Autofocus is something I love about using a Canon, not only how easy it is to use, but how good the facial tracking of the dual pixel autofocus is. And with the R6 and the R5, it's going to have dual pixel autofocus version 2. This means you get up to 1,053 autofocus zones and 5,940 user selectable autofocus point positions. These are the first cameras to offer 100% frame coverage from Canon. So that means when your subject is really close to the edge of the frame, you're still able to get focus on them. On top of everything, Canon is also releasing a HTIF file format, which is going to be similar to JPEGs, but give you a better resolution and quality, and also a larger color range. We'll have to try it out when we get our hands on the cameras. Finally, both of these cameras are aimed at being the cameras for content creators shooting both video and photos, and you can also shoot up to 4K time lapses and even up to 8K time lapses with the R5. Both cameras are very similar to the EOS R in a sense that you're able to customize a lot of the camera as well. Now with all these really cool features, you also need a battery to power it all. Canon have released a new battery, but don't worry, it's the same form factor as the LPE6. It's the LPE6NH. And all your LPE6 Ns and LPE6 batteries are also going to be compatible, but the LPE6N-H just has a little bit more juice to keep your camera going for a little bit longer. Wrapping it all up with some rapid fire features, both cameras will have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, with the R5 having a 5 GHz signal and be Ethernet supported, whereas the R6 is only going to have a 2.4 GHz signal. The R5 also has voice memo, which the R6 does not, and the R5 is going to have a weight with the battery of 738 grams, whereas the R6 is going to be 680 grams, including the battery. Finally, both cameras will also sport the flippy floppy screen. Now onto the question that most people are wondering, how much is it all going to cost? Now, according to Canon, the R5 is going to cost just around a similar price, or if not just a bit higher than the 5D4, and the R6, I would say, will just be coming under that. It is going to be a little bit cheaper than the R5. If you have any questions, make sure to pop them down in the comments below. We run frequent giveaways on our Instagram, which you can go check out, possibly giving away one of these cameras. Maybe not, but you never know. And if you want to learn more about photography, we also have really good workshops happening every month, which you can check out in the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, good old Canon. Oh, that's huge.